Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and this is episode 2 of Sarah's Creative Corner, and I am here to update you about some of the projects that I worked on over the past week, or a little bit more than a week. It is February 8th, so it's been 8 days since I last filmed, and I do have one finished object and I did work on 3 items actively, and so I'm gonna give you some updates on those. And then I know last week with one of my goals I talked about spinning. I didn't do any spinning over the past week, but I wanted to bring over what I do have and what I would like to do with it. So I guess we can go ahead and get started with my first finished object. This is toriknitsnyc's Manhattan hat. It is in a worsted weight yarn, and it was a really great knitting experience. There were some personal errors, but that is how it is sometimes. And I knit the double folded brim option, so it is pretty long. But for an adult size, the brim is supposed to be about 3 inches. So yeah, and you can see I was around here last time I saw you, and then I knit all the way up here, did the crown decreases, and I bound off. But there was a mistake. I actually had added 6 extra stitches instead of 8 extra stitches, because I am knitting it just a little bit larger than the largest size for this recipient. This is actually for a swap for the Love and Stitches membership, and yeah, so I'm knitting it just a little bit bigger, and since it's stitches, like it's 8 stitches for the decreases, I decided to do an extra set, and then since I only had 6, all my numbers were off. So what did I do? If you know me in real life, I ripped out the entire hat. I was like here. I was so close to being done, but I decided to rip it all out, and restarted. I ripped it out 2 days ago, restarted, and finished this morning. It's not blocked yet, so the Kitchener stitch is a little wonky, but I am pretty happy with the results. I can put it on for you guys. If I can get it on right. So it's a little bit big for me, especially because it's a ribbed hat, so it'll stretch, but I think it's pretty cute, and I really like the color, and I really hope the recipient likes the color. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I knit a little bit larger than the largest size, and I knit it in this yarn, Berroco Comfort, which is a 50% superfine nylon and 50% superfine acrylic, and it's in color 9779, and I think that's called Candy Pink, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I really like the color, and I was able to get this in like less than 1.5 balls of that, so I'll probably send over the leftovers to the recipient, and she can do as she pleases with the leftovers. So yeah, that's really it about this. That was my first finished object, and I just love the like decreases. It looks really nice. And I did the right side out purlwise decreases, and I was a little confused at first, but then I got a hang of it, especially once I restarted the entire hat. But you live and you learn, and I'm glad I was able to get this one out of the way because I have been wanting to knit one, and I think there was just some mental barrier of starting one because I do have some yarn that I have some worsted weight yarn that I can knit up a hat in this. So yeah, I'll know about how long I want to knit it, and everything like that. So yeah, additional modifications, the hat for the double folded brim, you're supposed to knit like about like 12.5 inches, but I knit it to 15 because when I put it on my head, the 12.5 inches, it was like just covering my head, and I was looking at the finished product pictures, and the crown should be like decreasing a little bit above the head, so I needed some more space, and that is totally okay. I do find that my row gauge is a little bit shorter than a lot of patterns. I don't really know what to do about that because I can always knit longer, but I'd rather have the width stitch gauge be on track. And yeah, this is just like a 1x1 rib with a cool crown decrease. So that is my first finished object of this podcast. So getting into my WIPs. So my next WIP that I did get some work done on over the weekend was, or over the past week, is this sock that you guys might remember. It is the Cheap Seat colorway by Queen City Yarns from Charlotte, North Carolina, and the pattern is Hermione's Everyday Sock. So I finished the heel, which I'm really excited about. So that is the heel, and I did the Eye of Partridge heel as suggested in the pattern, but I actually modified this one too. I didn't do the garter ridge at the edge. I just did like a normal Eye of Partridge heel, and I am just getting into the foot. So I was like around here, and then I did all of the heel flap, and I did all the gusset decreases. So probably like a couple inches, and I'll just use my sock ruler to my measurement and finish this up. And this is the first sock, so hopefully I don't get second sock syndrome. But this is really potato chippy and nice to knit up, and yeah, that is the first WIP. All right, my second work in progress is my Sophie shawl. So that is this one. It is knit up in Woolberry Fiberco's Cloud Forest. I think that was one of her collections at the end of the year, and it is just a light blue with some kind of like darker speckling. And I finally finished up the first skein, and I haven't added the second one, but it is ready and wound up in one of the yarn cozies that I have sewn, and just ready to be added when I'm ready for it. So I'll probably try to add it sometime this week and just get chugging along. I haven't decided if I'm going to add additional stitches width-wise because it looks a little skinny compared to some of the pattern photos, but we'll see. I'm almost to the point that I should be like starting the decreases, so yeah, we'll see when I get there. Maybe I'll add like a few extra stitches for that. So that is my Sophie shawl by PetiteKnit, and just chugging along on it when I am feeling inspired to. All right, and then my last knitting WIP is another pattern by Tori Yu. It is her Uptown Pullover, and I was able to get a good bit of progress, I would say, done on this one, and this is what it's looking like now. I am knitting this up in Purl Soho's Goodwill in Freshwater Blue, and that's what it's looking like. Over the past week, I actually was able to finish the first sleeve, and I'm actually really happy with the sleeve. It's kind of like a balloon sleeve. There's no decreases at any point, except you do a rapid decrease before you do the cuff, and then it's just a 1x1 cuff with an I-cord edge. I was tempted to do just a tubular cast off, but I wanted to stay true to pattern. And this is my join for the I-cord bind off. It's not great, but it hasn't been blocked yet, so we'll see. It's kind of like on the inside of the wrist, so it should be fine. But that's something that I'll need to work on. I did, I think, 70 lace repeats of the 2-round repeat, and then I did the decrease. It will probably be a little bit long of a sleeve, but since it is kind of a balloon sleeve, I imagine it'll stretch out and also like take up that length a little bit when I block it, so it should be okay. And then I started the second sleeve. I got, what's that, like maybe 5 inches done on the second sleeve, so just chugging along on that. And I'm just gonna count how many light bulb stitch markers they're kind of hiding in the mesh, and make sure I'm doing the same number on the other sleeve. I should get this mostly done this week, and then should be able to start the body. So I'm really excited to finish this up. It's due towards the end of the month, and I should be able to get it done. I've had a little bit less knitting time recently because I've been doing a lot of driving. Since my husband isn't in town, I've been driving myself around, and that's been a little bit of a sucker for my knitting, but that is a-okay. I think that's really it for all the knitting that I've done this week. So not super productive, at least like in volume, but I would say in what I would have liked to accomplish, it's been productive. All right, so that is all of the knitting WIPs. I wanted to show a spinning WIP that I do have, and I'm spinning it on my Electric Eel Wheel Nano 2.0. So I have some fiber by the Chameleon Fiber Co. on Etsy. I don't think they have this colorway, and I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I have this. I did this a while ago. This was my first bobbin on the electric wheel, and I think it came out pretty okay. There's some like curly cues in there, but as you'll see, my second bobbin actually is turning out a little bit better, but it's like so soft and squishy, and I really like it. And there are some like yellows and blues and oranges. It like reminds me of a beach. So that is the finished bobbin, and I do have a bobbin in progress right now, and that is this one. So as you can see, it's a lot more even than the first one. There aren't as many curly cues in it, so I think I'm starting to get a hang of spinning kind of in general, because I have had a lot of curly cues in some previous spins. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of be getting a hang of it. So this is my Electric Eel Wheel Nano. I have the blue one, and yeah, I think it's really nice. I'll probably get some more bobbins so I can ply, and so I can do like extra fibers, but that's really it. And this is the fiber just on its own. It's just so nice, and it's just a merino fiber. It's a 19.5 micron fiber. So yeah, and I do have a, I don't really know if I'm using it right, but just one of these like spin savers, or the twist saver, so the twist doesn't like go all the way up into the fiber while I'm taking a break on it. And it's been really helpful. But otherwise, yeah, what I'm planning on doing is kind of what I'm planning on doing with my mystery club fiber from Little Fiber Co., which is just get a bare, like merino probably fiber, and ply it together, and we'll see how much I get. I know Andrea Mowry's been coming out with some hand spun inspired patterns recently with the Traveler series, so I think that'd be really nice to knit one of those, or depending if I'm really feeling inspired, I'll just see what gauge my yarn is and then just maybe knit something at that same weight. But yeah, I find that I have like a finer spin, like around a sport-ish weight when I ply, so I guess maybe a fingering to DK would be what I would end up using for my pattern. So that's really it for everything that I have. It's a really short episode, but I guess for future plans, I do have one future plan that I'm probably going to get started on this week, next week. Not really sure yet, but I am going to be starting a new test knit for Woodland Knits, Live of Woodland Knits, if I remember correctly. It is her Chloe sweater, which is a sweater for unspun yarn. So this will be my first sweater with unspun. I do have a bunch of Newton, like I talked about last week, and I have some more coming actually within the next week or so. So I'll probably look through my Newton stash and see what I will end up using. It's a bottom-up sweater with a V-neck, and I think it's kind of like a drop shoulder design. So I have not done any of those things in like a full sweater, so that'll be really interesting to see how that goes. I will probably do just like a normal, just like follow the pattern. The only thing that I can think of wanting to do is maybe a split hem, but nothing crazy. Since it is the first time I'm doing a bottom up, I think I want to stay as true to pattern as possible, just so I don't mess anything up, and since it's also a test. So I think that's really it. Hopefully next week I will have some more progress, maybe a half finished object or anything like that. So I will see you guys next week. If you can like and subscribe, that would be great. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.